So we're back, everybody.
We're back. First podcast of 2020.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I hope everyone had a wonderful New Year. Hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. The year has begun interestingly, I think.
Yeah.
We from Trump all the way down.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I heard this the other day, and I hadn't thought of it. Is that when you write the dates, here we put in the U.S. they put the month first. So for example, it's January. You could put 1 or 01/20/20, right?
Right.
In the UK and other places, they put the day first, so it'd be 20/01/20. They're telling people, what I've heard is to avoid fraud, to not put the year as just 2 digits this year. Because of the fact that it's the same as the first two, 2020, somebody could, if they wanted to, for example, you wrote a check and you wrote down and you just use that slash.
Right.
And you just put 20, they could post-date it. They could actually add the next two numbers, the next 2 digits. They could be 21. They could do whatever. So it's just a precaution.
I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
With as awful as this world is, that is low tech.
Yeah. It's low tech, and I hadn't thought of it. And I
thought, wow. Well, we are back. It is season 4. Episode 110 of the Pod Bay Door.
Wow.
Las Vegas is changing yet again. We're going to talk a bit about what's changing, and say goodbye to a couple things, say hello to a couple things. But first, we're going to talk about an article that I read from the Business Insider.
All right.
So CES was just here. And I was able to attend it in part because of what I was doing, where I was working, and I specifically wanted to look at the drone area of that particular conference, which I'll talk to you about, Las Vegas and the drone thing in a bit. But CES, I don't know if you know, everybody knows, 1967 was its beginning in New York City.
Oh.
It had a stint in Chicago, had a stint in Orlando, and from 1998 to present, which is 22 years, it has been here.
In the best place to have it.
Yes. Well, not according to this article.
Okay.
Yes. The Business Insider claims that the Las Vegas is really no longer appropriate for CES.
Oh.
And I want to talk about the reasons that this person, this article author, talked about, and see what you think.
All right.
Maybe 1 or 2 we might agree with, but see, you and I, being concierge in a town like this, we can actually address a lot of what this person said.
Yeah, and I'd like to know where they're from, because they could be trying to say, hey, we need to move it where I live.
Where do you think they're from?
Atlanta.
Another direction.
Okay.
San Francisco.
All right.
Silicon Valley.
Well, I mean, they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be in the old days, the Moscone Center, they used to have Macworld.
Yes.
And they had some of the other ones because they got so expensive that they moved a lot of those out.
Yeah.
And they moved them here where it's cheaper. And hey, I'm from San Francisco, love San Francisco, and I know where the Moscone Center is.
Yeah.
And if you go down there after hours, you're hard to find things to do.
Sure.
They're south of Market. It's not for the average, pretty staid person. It might be a little uncomfortable for them there in that part of town.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Interesting you say Atlanta. I'm sure Atlanta and Georgia would vie for a CES.
Yeah.
Atlanta, of course, I think this is where he located it, the Tyler Perry studio. Giant project. And apparently,
huge airport. They had the busiest airport in the world, I think.
Too hot, from what I've heard from the celebrities, and I've not been to Atlanta, but and Georgia, of course, is a very popular spot for Hollywood.
Yeah.
But okay, so to sort of talk about the article as a whole, this author claims that Las Vegas is no longer appropriate for CES because it still perpetuates the bro culture. Or more to the point, it espouses the bro culture that came out of Silicon Valley. And he actually references the show Silicon Valley from HBO. Absolutely wonderful show, by the way. So what do you think about that? So my notation said bro culture versus millennials. Do you think millennials? Now your boy is, I think, Gen Z.
Yeah.
Or the ass end
Yeah.
of millennial. I'm not
He's
sure.
19, so he's
Okay, yeah, he's Gen Z.
He's Gen Z.
So do you think that his generation and the millennials that we see both on an entertainment level and daily, do you think that they are no longer bros? Do you think Vegas no longer has anything for the millennial? Are they not bros? Are they not coming here to have fun? Is everybody too scared of the...
Well, we remember when we worked Comdex and
Yeah.
I guess CES to a lesser extent.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, consumer electronics, you're going to get all kinds. But when you got Comdex, they were the nerds.
Yes.
And the thing we knew working with them, there was a lot of people coming, but it wasn't a good time for us.
No.
Because they said, they showed up, wearing a white shirt and holding a $20 bill. They were here 3 days and they didn't change either one of them.
Right.
Right? They were cheap.
Yeah.
They didn't spend anything except for they asked for the soda vending machine.
Vending machine and the number for Pizza Hut.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, that's what they wanted, and so they didn't spend money. But again, these are people that to me to say anything about Las Vegas as a culture of this or that, because it appeals to all kinds of people.
Yes.
You can come here, and I mean they've done a lot to try to appeal to the millennials.
Right,
It was
right.
they found out. I think it was I saw some statistics at the end of last year that I think they said 30% of the visitors to Las Vegas are millennials, which meant I said, well, so most of them aren't, but nevertheless they've tried. We've got the at the Luxor now, they've really gone all heavy duty into the gaming
Esports,
thing.
yeah.
Esports.
Yeah.
So you see that, and they are trying to, and they also know that these people are not spending as much money in the casino. It was at a point where I think they said in up to 2000, 90% of the people who came to Las Vegas spent time in the casino. They did something in the casino. Maybe they didn't necessarily have to gamble,
Right.
but they watched. They may have put in a token or a quarter in a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Today, it's down to about 65%.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been a big drop off. And most of those, my guess is coming from the millennials don't spend it, but they spend it other places. So if you want to go to clubs, that's not my gig. It's not most people's our age's gig.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there for somebody. And then if the casino, it seems to me that Las Vegas does try to appeal to everybody. It's got cowboy bars. It's got every kind of bar.
Well,
right?
apparently, speaking of the clubs, now that it sort of brought me to the next phase of this.
Yeah.
The bro culture versus millennials is per this author.
Yeah.
The millennials are scared to death of everything Las Vegas represents, most specifically the club and gender interactivity that Vegas has always had, meaning that they're scared to death of the Me Too culture, and they don't want to go to clubs anymore. They want community tables. They want restaurants, which has its own problems apparently to this author. But all of this, the guys, winking and rubbing elbows and let's go to Vegas and just be debaucherous, for a couple of days is no longer acceptable to this generation, and therefore Las Vegas should no longer hold these large conferences.
That makes no sense to me. Sorry, it just doesn't really. I mean, I don't think whoever wrote that spends enough time here.
I think it's a dangerous overgeneralization.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me continue.
Yep.
Restaurants, this person says. Now this is one we may agree with because we're not a huge fan of the celebrity restaurant or chef. Now, restaurants, he says, are, quote, deceptively expensive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But where aren't they?
Yeah. You go to San Francisco.
Yes. When you walk into an Emeril Lagasse restaurant or a Puck restaurant, you kind of know it's going to cost you a pretty penny if you're going to eat from soup to nuts. So I find that to be a strange statement. And this is an interesting thing. See if this bothers you. For someone who hasn't been to Vegas, and for all the people listening to us that have, that the restaurants are at the back of wherever you enter.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you are traipsing through the casino.
Exactly.
If you don't like that, well, kind of too bad. There are routes to go if you start to know the place a little bit better. But his point is that not only is you're going to an expensive restaurant that probably isn't that good, a copy of the original expensive restaurant,
Yeah.
but you're going across the casino where everything smells. The carpet smells like smoke. The people smell like whatever they smell like. The slot machines and everything. He said smells. And by the time you get to the restaurant, you're so nauseated you don't want to eat.
Well, the old hotels downtown, perhaps Circus.
Yes.
Yeah, they smell, but not the new ones.
Yes.
And by the new ones, I mean the Bellagio on up, the ones in the last 20
right.
years. So this person hasn't spent enough time there.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, to me, that's just a really shallow argument that you don't feel like eating, or what I want you to say that, because they hand out so many free drinks, you're drunk. Time you get, hey, being from San Francisco, there are some great restaurants I love down on Fisherman's Wharf.
Right.
What a pain in the ass to get to them.
Yes.
And then you have to, try to park your car somewhere. They charged, even back then it was $12.50 every half hour. So you're spending, a couple $100 for dinner, and then you're spending, $35 for parking.
Right.
So at least here you can say, hey, let's go to the Emerald Lagasse place, whatever. You know what? I don't feel like it now because of all the smoke and shit that smells bad, but let's go to the other place. At least I don't have to move my car.
Yes.
Right? It's already there. So, and again, if you're coming in for a few days on a conference, I've been to plenty of conferences, and that's the whole thing. What the hell am I going to do at night? There is no shortage of stuff. You can go to high-end shows. You can go to low-end shows. Mm-hmm. You can go to a strip bar. You can go to a church if you wanted to. You can get married. Where else can you do that?
At the strip bar.
At the strip bar. Exactly. Yeah. You can probably find a minister that's buck naked if you wanted that, right? I remember we used to have, not that I ever booked one, right? But they used to have the themed weddings.
Yes.
The aliens. You can get married in a fucking flying saucer if you wanted to, right?
Exactly.
But not that it would ever happen, but you can do that. So.
Yes. Well, let me move on to further the evils of Las Vegas and why we should no longer have any conferences.
All right.
But most specifically CES. Now, I'm being a little flippant.
Yeah.
But this author spoke strictly of CES, meaning that the tech industry now is above Las Vegas. That was the takeaway for me.
I see.
So the next thing is lodging.
Okay.
Hidden fees and no amenities.
Yeah.
Again, where are you traveling and where are you staying in any part of this globe where there aren't hidden fees?
Yeah, either that. I mean, we've complained about the resort fees.
Yes.
They're going to go up when things are busy.
Of course.
That's how it is. When I have to go to San Francisco now and then, go on business, and I stay around, which would be within distance of the Moscone Center because that's where my home office is at. It's up to $300 for a Courtyard by Marriott. All right, $300, and it's not like it's a special occasion.
Yeah, right.
It is any time. And it's sometimes they say, we tried to put you in there. We couldn't. It was full. Really? In, May 19th?
Right.
Whatever it is.
Right.
So they had to put me up near Union Square, which is about a 25-minute walk, which I do. It's fine, which is even more money. Yeah. Because it's Union Square. So the value that you get. And then if you drive, oh, shit, right? I mean, now you got to tack on $40, $50 a day for parking if you happen to have rented a car.
For sure.
So Las Vegas is just much cheaper in that regard. Mm-hmm. Even if, there's no amenities, but the room's pretty cheap, comparatively speaking.
Comparatively speaking. Yeah, I think so. It can go high, but if you're staying, New Year's Eve, it's going to be high. Now, the other thing he's talking about amenities, and specifically not having a refrigerator.
Oh.
But charging $35 to have one available, which we did all the time. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes we did it, for a secret. Yeah. Tell them that you're storing mother's milk
or insulin.
Yeah. And you can get a free refrigerator.
Yeah.
Yes, it was $35.
Yeah.
That's the going rate. And they said, and of course the $5 Dasani in the snack bar.
That's anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Have you not stayed in New York?
Yeah.
Where it's about 4.5 square feet
Yeah.
You have to dive in from your door to the bed.
Yeah.
And it's a $5 bottle of water. You're right. As I go through this, I realize how generalized this author is.
Yeah.
And I want to bring up another thing, because your background is being a linguist and you love language like I do. This article did not. I'm not saying this about this article in the Business Insider, but the other articles that I read, have you noticed that they've been putting cursing in the article?
Online?
Yeah.
Articles?
Yeah. And maybe I shouldn't be amazed by this, but
yeah, you're right.
But
I've noticed that.
But
too.
I mean, they will just say anything. I read an article about hot pots, and the new ironic thing to do is when you go into a hot pot restaurant, you get food and you cook it in the boiling water or boiling oil, and then you order more food. Apparently, it's quite expensive, so people are now bringing in their own chicken.
Oh. I
raw
see.
chicken, which that's safe.
Oh yeah.
But the author of the article said, and they're cooking that shit themselves. I'm like, I just have we
very colloquial.
Yeah, have we degraded ourselves to that point where we can't even write an article without cursing? I don't know. Sorry, I digress.
Yeah.
So again, this author, back to the Business Insider, too general. I was like, where are you staying?
Yeah, exactly.
Where? Unbelievable.
Granted, a lot of the lower end properties, I don't even mean that. I would just say cheaper properties, like the Sahara, the Riviera, the Stardust. I used to stay there because I thought it was a good value because I'm not in the room very long.
Right.
I'm out running around or doing something. I'm just sleeping there.
Yeah.
So $35 a night at the Stardust in the 90s was a great deal, right? I mean, the room was clean. I had a shower. It worked. Yeah. I've stayed in third world places that, like I said, hey, this is great, so $35 a night. And those are all gone. Mm-hmm. And they really haven't had anything to replace them with. But, we talked about the MGM selling off Circus. I thought, wow, given a choice between getting the Circus or Bellagio, I would have bought Circus. Because of the fact it's a cash cow, right? Yeah. Everybody complains about it. It is a dump, no doubt about it.
No doubt.
But it's paid for, and it just rakes in the money.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Low overhead.
Moving on, to the evils of Vegas.
Yeah.
I entitled this, by the way, "What's Wrong with Vegas Now?"
Yeah.
So, along with restaurants being deceptive, and smells getting there. And lodging being deceptive.
Yeah.
And
now I will say, if they're saying how it was in the past, we've barked on charging for parking.
Yes.
Which obviously you can say, well, where else don't they do that? They do that. They don't need to do that here.
No. And they're realizing that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're realizing, I think they're slowly realizing that the gauntlet that is the Oakland Raiders is not going to be as big a splash as they think. It's going to be big the first year, always is, but it's not going to be as big as they think. And so all these things that they're putting in place, I think they're going to retract. But transport is inconvenient. Yes.
Now they're working on the people mover. Mm-hmm. Now I'm just stunned at they're saying it'll be ready later this year.
I don't believe it.
I can't imagine that they would,
Yeah. And the monorail still only has 7 stops.
Yeah.
And they're trying desperately to expand that, but nobody wants to pay for it.
Yeah. Now again, looking at other cities, I mean, I would say that that's a problem anywhere in the U.S. Public transportation is awful.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, there might be certain isolated areas where, hey, they've done a pretty good job with it. But compared to when I lived in Japan, and I was there 15 years and never owned a car, never had a need for one, I could get anywhere in that country by a train, by train or bus.
Yeah.
Locally, the trains in and out of Tokyo, I might have lived 25, 30 miles away. Train, I might have to take 2 or 3 of them, connect, but you figure out the schedule and that just, and you still get home faster.
Well, this particular author, along with other authors that I've read and people that I've spoken to, are offended that Las Vegas did not welcome with open arms and espouse the rideshare programs that we have placed Uber and Lyft and whatever the hell the new one is in the back alleys, in the loading zones and everything else. Well, yeah, we did because that's they were coming in post design.
Yeah, and that's the best place for them. They're easier to I mean, I use rideshare all the time when I go to the
and
strip
you don't.
mall.
Honestly, most major casinos, you don't want to go to the valet.
Yeah.
You'd rather be in a nice, quiet area where the guy's going to pick you
We're
up.
going to be able to find something. That's why I don't take.
They're not actually in the back alley.
Right.
By the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I don't take the ride share from the airport here. I'll take a taxi, even though
Yeah.
it's a lot more money, because usually I'm not paying for it anyway. But it's a pain in the ass. I've done this in other, I've been to Phoenix, and
Right.
the last time I ride share, I got the guy. He's on the opposite side of the terminal than I am.
Right.
But he's waiting there for me. So now I got to hustle through the terminal, go to the other side and look for this guy. And there's 3 cars that all look alike because they're either leased from Lyft or whatever, or they're just similar.
Right.
And, oh, hi, are you Antonio? No. All right, then, oh, there you are. And he said, are you Frank? No, it's not me. I got to find the third car. There it is. So
Right.
But I find from the hotels and where they have a rideshare section separate from the taxis, that it's a lot easier to find them, but still, it's a little bit of a hassle.
But is transport inconvenient in Vegas? Yes, always has been, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the cabs are, you got to watch yourself with the cabs, and, city buses, obviously, if you go that low.
But with so many things centered on the strip, now granted, the convention center isn't on Las Vegas Boulevard.
No.
But with everything else centered there.
And it has a monorail stop.
And it has a monorail stop.
Yeah.
But with everything else centered there, you can find something to do, or go someplace for dinner, whatever. That place is too expensive. You can find a place, or they're crowded. Whatever. You will find a place. You can walk to it. Get off your ass and walk, right? And then when you're walking, you don't need to see a show. You just can walk and entertain yourself, watching people stumbling over,
You got
and
the show.
and the drunk Gene Simmons,
Right. Dirty Pikachu.
dirty Pikachu, and somebody puking in the fountain, and fat chicks sprawled out because they're drunk, and it's fun.
Well, now the last thing the article author said, I believe his name was David. The last thing David said was, Las Vegas reinforces bad habits. Okay.
What are those bad habits?
Well, drinking, smoking,
Well, I don't smoke. so-
carousing,
at least not tobacco. but-
treating women poorly. I don't know, but I absolutely I challenge him
yeah.
to stand in any city
It's a
and tell me
generalization,
that's
and
not
it's-
the truth.
Yeah, yeah. Anybody who travels, yes, this is the opportunity. I'm away from home. Nobody knows me. And whereas Las Vegas sanctions it and keeps it out in the open with that, other places might, every place has got, wherever you go that's near a convention center, you don't have to go too far to find a strip bar. Right? And now, according to this guy, where should these conventions then be? Did he say?
He didn't. He actually said at the end of the article, he
Does not have any conventions.
He got himself out of the responsibility of having that answer by saying, I don't have this answer, but Las Vegas is definitely not the answer. And I'm like, well, you're either a millennial that is representing millennials that don't have any money and don't want to come to Vegas because they don't have any money anymore.
Yeah.
Or you're representing this wave of millennial forced change, this cancel society that we're having. And you know what? I think if the millennials take on Las Vegas with this cancel attitude, they're going to lose. Because there's only a couple spaces, and when I mean cities, that can have conferences.
Yeah, big ones.
You can't have them in Phoenix,
No.
Orlando, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, though. I mean, you want to talk just sheer inconvenience, Los Angeles,
And the other thing about Las Vegas is if it's depending on the size of the conference, even a really big one, you've got your choice of venues. You've got the convention center, you've got the Sands, you've got the Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
Right? They all have very large conference centers, convention
right.
centers. So, and then Orlando, what do? Go to fucking Disney World? Great. I mean, well, what if you don't want to do that, or you've done it before, or whatever. It's the same rides, right? You're going over it again, and that's fine. But maybe you don't want to do that, and that isn't something. You go, as you know, you go to Disney World or Disneyland or Universal Studios. It's an all-day thing. You just don't go there. Hey, after the conference is over tonight, let's go to Disney World for 3 hours. Yeah, right. You don't do that, right?
and for about $1,000.
Yes. So you don't do that for, I'm going to go on the one ride and then leave. No, you got to pay to get in the park.
Yeah.
So at least here you can see you can entertain yourself with walking around.
The thing is, I think the author wants somehow this place to still be family friendly, and it failed.
Yeah.
And we let it go.
But people don't come to CES with their families,
No,
right?
they don't. And that failed. We let it go, and good riddance.
Yeah.
And we don't want that.
Yeah.
And he was saying, well, and it's like he had to give it a last shot. It's campy, it's schmucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because
that's part of the tongue-in-cheek appeal to it.
Pure. Yes. It's the only thing that hasn't been ridden over by this society of change. And you know what? We need to keep some of our rocks in place.
Yeah, because the place changes all the time as it is.
And stop being afraid of me too.
They
got everybody already.
You know what it sounds like is that he came here and he did not listen. Hey, he did not listen to our podcast or anything else where we give you some tips on how to navigate this city. And he got here and he got frustrated because he got fucked over every place he went and got ripped off because he's a Mark.
Right.
Not a David, he's a Mark. and I paid that much for that. And I can't find it. Where's the ride? He doesn't know anything and he gets frustrated. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to write an article saying they got to move instead of having him change or learn. Mm-hmm. He says, no, they got to put it someplace that I don't know where, but
now I think both you and I know this is one guy, one publication, who happens, I think, to be wrong across the board, or he specifically, he wrote, a clickbait article, just so everybody could read it and see it. So we're gonna let him go.
Yeah.
Come to Vegas. It's still fun.
It's still fun.
Be smart, like you do any travel, and we have a lot to offer. And I think 2020 is going to be a very interesting year. We're going to lose a lot.
Yeah.
We're losing. What are we losing?
Well, the Hard Rock is gone in a couple weeks.
February 3rd, last day. Yeah.
Yep.
And then 267 days. They claim they're going to finish that.
Oh, it'll be reopen as the Virgin.
So they can, as Virgin, so they can get the people. And I like the way they phrased it, but I don't know if it's true. But 267 days, they're going to get it back and going, and so people can enjoy it, and workers can get back to work. So we'll see. Branson has a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they do.
Somehow, just the name Virgin, it just kind of clashes with the rest of the Las Vegas.
I think it's perfect. I think David should have put that in his article.
He should stay there next time. Go stay at Virgin.
Yeah. So we didn't lose them, but we lost them as they are. MGM and Mandalay Bay I have sold.
Yes.
And again, though, it's the typical corporate paper selling back and forth. They're going to be
leasing it out.
It out. Yeah, it's just big business. They're going to be making it just as much money.
And they sold it to the same organization that bought the Bellagio.
Exactly.
The Bellagio.
The Bellagio, yeah exactly. So we'll see if there's any changes as far as protocols and standard operating procedures. And you brought up to me a big change, airport flat fees.
Yes.
What does that mean to me?
It means it's something like, depending on where you're staying, for example, on the Strip, whether you're at the north end or the south end, that you get in the taxi and it's going to be $19. Mm-hmm. That's what you pay.
Okay.
So, wherever it is, I think it was 19 that I heard. So that's it. You get in there, and if a guy takes the freeway or he goes to surface streets, it doesn't matter. It's a flat rate. So.
I support that.
Yeah.
I do. I don't know what 19 sounds okay. I
think that's what it was.
You can get let's see. You can get to all the majors with under $20, I think. I don't think 19 is high. You'd have to go to the stratosphere to go past 20. And who wants to go there? Ha.
Yeah.
So airport flat fees, that's really great. And goodbye to one of our favorites. A sort of a landmark for finding your way around Mandalay Bay.
Yes, the Red Square.
Red Square
was there from day one. I was there.
After they
I still remember when they had Lennon's head on it.
That's right. Yes, we did. We saw it brand new.
Yeah.
I never believed the story. I think it was marketing and hype.
Yeah.
I don't think because they were too okay with it, So, but Red Square, the Ice Bar.
Gone.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going to go there, but I always use that as a reference because, as you know, when you come in, there's kind of a way it forks. The parking lot, and sometimes, which end did I come in off of? From the Ariel end or from the Red Square end?
Right.
So it's easy to remember it's the Red Square.
Red Square.
I'll meet you in front of Lenin, whatever, and it's gonna be gone. So
very sad. I'm sad about that one.
Yeah.
And like you said, goodbye to the Hard Rock, and we're gonna and goodbye, sort of a goodbye, a nice presentation downtown, Fremont Street Canopy. They have all their light shows and music shows. They are doing a sort of a retrospective and a goodbye to Neil Peart.
Oh yes, drummer of Rush.
Yes. I find that interesting.
Yeah.
Drummers usually don't get a lot of fanfare.
No, that's why they're the drummer.
He was also he wrote the music though.
Yeah.
So yeah. So are you a Neil Peart fan?
Well, I had some of
that
the
hard
early
enough for
stuff. Yeah, I mean, the thing with Rush to me was all their songs sounded exactly the same. I mean, there was a certain beat, and that defines a band.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a sound. It came on. I haven't heard their song before. Oh, it sounds just like Rush.
Yeah.
Turns out, the DJ, this would be on the FM, the radio, right? That was Rush. Of course it was. Who else does that? Who else would it have been? So
right.
So yeah, I liked the Hemispheres album they had. I liked that song, The Trees. I thought it was good.
Okay.
So I like some of their stuff. Yeah,
All
well
right,
enough.
all right.
And he wasn't that old. He was like 67.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're going to say hello to, and I'll preface this by saying our other podcast, The Invisible Maybe, you can find it at theinvisiblemaybe.com, started season 2 on Thursday with a wonderful episode about magic and, I was going to say mysticism, magic and mentalism.
Yeah.
Our own John went to a conference and learned a whole bunch about that. So go to theinvisiblemaybe.com if you love magic and mentalism and all that weird psychic stuff.
Yeah.
Go there and enjoy that. But that being said, a very world famous.
Yeah.
John didn't know him though.
No.
World famous psychic is starting a show at Cleopatra's Barge inside Caesar's Palace, which is a strange venue.
Yeah.
His name is Thomas John.
I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, look him up.
Now, I also mentioned that at the OXO, which used to be Hooters, is that right?
Hooters.
Yeah. Now it's called OXO, is that right? OXO?
Yeah.
The,
Kisses and hugs?
Yeah. I guess that's what that was, huh? I hadn't thought of that. I'm looking at it because, there's a brand that makes kitchen utensils. And they're the same name, I think it is, something like OXO.
Well, we're going to call it Kisses and Hugs. Yeah.
Thank you, whatever. Alan New, N-U. He's going, Alan, he spells it a little, I think it's A-L-A-I-N. He's doing his mentalism show. He is well known.
Okay.
So that would be, if somebody goes to see Alan New, let me know how it is.
All right.
I'm sure it'll be good. And then of course Jerry McCambridge is still at the at Planet Hollywood. He's really good. He's fantastic, in fact.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, John, season 4, thank you so much to everyone who stuck with us. Sorry for the big delay. Got a little busy there during the holidays.
Well,
I'm sure
we were in
everybody
jail.
knows. Yeah,
so we had to.
John was in jail. I had to get him out again. But thank you so much for listening. We had making a wonderful 3 seasons. Season 4 starts with this one, and we're going to keep going with the Pod Bay Door. Lots happening, I think, in 2020 for Las Vegas. We will try to stay away from all the humdrum, normal gambling stuff. And talk about some interesting things. I promised our listeners, I got a lot of questions, a couple of them not so nice. I promised the Nevada trivia show that is definitely coming up within the next couple of weeks, and lots of information that you can learn about Nevada and Las Vegas. But again, thank you for listening. Thank you for all the clicks, all the downloads, all the streams. You can find us everywhere still. Check out The Invisible Maybe for non-Las Vegas things, specifically the last one, Magic and Mentalism. It's a lot of fun for that one. But for John, this is Jamey. Thanks for listening to the Pod Bay Door, and we will see you very soon. Hey everybody, thank you very much for tuning into the show. We would love to hear your show suggestions and comments. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, please click to subscribe. You can also connect with us on Facebook using @PBD Podcast, on Twitter using @TPBD Podcast, and on WordPress at thepodbaydoor.wordpress.com.